show. I'm so excited to be here. It's been a long, beautiful week of meeting some amazing people in music and music education and women in music. And I have the fortune of sitting here with John Mlynczak, the CEO of NAMM. And we're going to talk, as I always do, about how we can support independent artists in a broad spectrum. So if you don't mind, John, I have some questions for you today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for being here. Thank you for covering our show. And it's nice to sit down with you. It's nice to sit down after a very long week.
Right. That's what we're doing. We're resting our feet for 20 minutes, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. So first of all, how NAMM, if you could tell a little bit about like how NAMM supports independent artists from a career development standpoint, from an education standpoint, from a business standpoint.
Yeah, it's in our industry, we're traditionally a collection of member companies, but we've recognized for many years, and even more this year, and I'll get into some of the changes we made, that a lot of people make it in our industry by doing a collection of activities.
Yeah,
we know this. Even people that might be, I'm an employee of company A, but I also have a podcast and I also gig here and I also like to repair this and I have this person working on a movie and that's kind of cool. I want to get into that. So we are a collection of independent entrepreneurial spirit. We are an industry of the entrepreneurial spirit. So what we do at NAMM is we make sure that our three most important things that we do with the show, which is networking, education, and exhibits, we cover the spectrum of all the areas that people are trying to find in their careers. So in our education sessions, we're very deliberate to make sure we're hitting all the topics and providing a broad enough menu so that that independent entrepreneur can find all the pieces that they're working on and discover. From the products out on the floor, they're finding all the connections they have, from the networking receptions that they can find each other.
Okay, and it's so I know in April, I spoke here in April, right? Because I'm a post-COVID year, but it's generally in January each year. Beyond that, what are some of the other programs like during the year that independent artists can take advantage of?
Right. No, it's a really good question. One of our biggest focuses right now is year-round member services for our members, and that's a place that we have a 3-year growth plan to find, because traditionally our members have always been companies.
Yes.
And then we count companies, and now immediately we count companies and their employees and individuals, because we recognize that the independent entrepreneur or anyone working in the gig economy, you're working in our products industry, you're giving value to musical products and creating more music makers. But if traditionally, if you didn't work for company A, you weren't a NAMM member. So we changed that. So now you can join NAMMs. If you're working with musical products, you can be an individual NAMM member.
Yeah.
And that's new, and that's something we're bringing into the show. And we have over 3,100 individual NAMM members now here taking advantage of that. Now, because of the rapid success of that, we have to look at our year-round member benefits that are traditional company-based and think about how do we do that for independent artists. So we've announced NAMM Next over the summer, which is our new professional development and growth summit.
And anybody can take advantage of that? Or?
Any NAMM member can come to NAMM Next. No, that's going to be a small, high-level leadership event, but we definitely. It's good to know that we looked at that and said it's not only for companies, it's for independent entrepreneurs, it's for companies and their employees. We are now thinking as NAMM of companies, their employees, and the individual members that add value. And so you'll see a lot more online education, you'll see a lot more community building throughout the year. This is a new area for us, and we're really excited to bring folks in and learn from them. We have a new audience.
Yeah.
Who are we to tell them what they need? We listen and we learn and we engage.
That's all about market research.
You've done this before.
A little bit. But let me ask you something that I loved about this year is the whole podcast area and some of the newer exhibitors that you have. As a podcaster myself, can you talk to us just for a second about that lane? And did they approach you like the Zooms of the world, or what happened?
I don't know who started the conversation. We were both just as eager.
Okay.
So we recognize, and this was prior to 2020, but especially in the past 3 years, we recognize the boom of folks that need audio skills that didn't come from the traditional, I want to produce an album path, I need to produce a podcast. And so we've seen that growth, and our member companies have been on that make the products, but we recognize, one, that we have people that need to learn musical skills, editing, sound, production, that might not be doing it for guitars. They might be doing it for content.
Yep.
So they need a home. where is their home? We're their home, right? So
That's
we wanted to
right. Bring
embrace
it all.
them. And then second, the podcasters, the content creators, the Instagrammers, the TikTokers, they tell our story bigger
That's
and
true.
better than most. And so
Absolutely.
we needed to get our retailers and our manufacturers and our traditional companies to see the world that's talking about them,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
And so this is why we embrace it. This elevates our industry.
Yeah, and I think they probably learn because I was on the floor a lot this week, right? Talking to both, and I saw, oh, well, in some of the manufacturing companies, seems like they're learning from the new age and the digital age. So I think it's mutually beneficial, right?
This is what we do. We are an association.
Yeah.
We bring together the right people so they can associate.
Yes.
So our thing, it's like it's one big mixer, right? Little this channel, I need this. Oh, we don't have enough influencers in the monitor. Let's add some here. Oh, we need podcasters.
Right.
Oh, now we need their gear.
Yeah.
We just have to create the right mix, and then magic happens.
I love it. Let's talk a little bit about Women of NAMM or NAMM Women.
Yes.
So I run Warrior Women in Business, which has always been about helping female entrepreneurs and female artists get the education and connections that they need, right? So I love to see NAMM Women growing. Can you talk a little bit about how that came about and where that's going and how women might be able to take advantage of that, women in the arts?
Absolutely. And you saw the incredible success of the Women in NAMM program the other night,
really
and the She Rocks Awards.
Yeah.
And yeah, the history, I think in 2018, we had 3 incredibly powerful female business leaders that got together at an industry event and said, we've got to do something about this male dominant industry. So they started at the time, which was called Smart Women in Music, and created these sort of pillars of growth and started a movement. Well, of course, immediately incredibly successful. And within 2 years, we said, no, this is Women of NAMM. So we made it Women of NAMM, so it changed to that, so we can embrace it in our industry, because NAMM and music industry are interchangeable, right?
Yeah,
and
absolutely,
so we then took that on, and then even this past year, we saw the success in April of the Women in NAMM gathering. And again, I like to say we, as an association first, we're not just a trade show, we're an association. Absolutely. We put on a trade show because our people want to gather. Yes, I understand. We do the work our members want to do. Yeah. And when we see these like rapid growth elements of females in the industry, not only bringing females in the industry, but seeing what females are doing in our industry in a big way, we knew we need to invest. So when we restructured to create more member services, like I mentioned for the independents, we focus on year-round member services. We've brought Women of NAMM into a core member service. So any NAMM member being part of the Women in NAMM programming is a NAMM member benefit. Oh, we fund it. So now the Women in NAMM is funded by NAMM member dues. That's part of a service you get, as well as NAMM Young Professionals. We have another group that provides services and mentorship for anyone under 40 in our industry. So those 2 groups are funded and part of NAMM's member services. In addition, we brought the She Rocks Awards here, the Women in Music Network. Yeah. They were here on Thursday. Right. So because we wanted to create multiple days of programming, we awarded a new female entrepreneur a special award, and we have a new program that allows them to get granted booths for like new female startup businesses. We piloted that program this year. Yeah. So we are absolutely invested in creating an incredibly diverse industry and I truly believe that we need everyone in this industry to understand how we empower each other, how we celebrate each other's success, right? I'm a music person. The best ensembles, everyone's working together.
Yes, absolutely. Me too.
So
I understand. Well, hopefully you're one of the industries that's going to lead in bringing, and balancing things out.
Absolutely.
As we talk about in Warrior Women in Business, like gender pay gap and all these things. And it's just so nice to see, and I've seen it on the floor, the connections that are happening,
It's the connections of the women groups. Great. It's the demonstration of the success of female leaders, but it's also educating the men. And that group and the amount of men that were at that thing saying, oh, you know what? And the podcast that women put out. I had a board member talking to me the other day saying, I listened to the Women in NAMM podcast. I had no idea what my female employees are thinking. I immediately know I need to change my behavior because I didn't recognize, and they listen to one 1-hour podcast. Yeah. And that's the kind of work we do. That's why we fund the podcast. That's why we get that message out.
I love it. So you're new to the role, yeah?
8 months, 28 days, and 45 minutes.
Okay. Well, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's no easy feat. It's a big, big organization you have. So what's your as a leader, what are your priorities? You know, what do you want to see happen, let's say, in the next year?
Yeah.
Man.
Well, we've set forth immediately, we, again, after the past few years, what NAMM needs to do is we need to serve our industry. Like I really mean that.
Okay.
And so when you have a big transition in leadership, when you have one of the world's largest disruptions to our industry ever,
Absolutely.
and then you have those at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
everything creates opportunity. So what we look at is this is a time where we need to listen and learn, right? It would be the easy way would be to fall back to the way things were and pull the playbook. Oh, thank God that's over. What's the playbook? I'm running it. I'm not running that playbook. So like I said, listen and learn.
Yeah.
I personally, I make sure I talk to one NAMM member company a day. I try to reach out to the CEOs of different companies or the leaders. I encourage my employees to talk to member companies. We need to make sure we have, and I will say this too, we have the best team in the world at NAMM. These people work at NAMM with passion and drive. And so my role, yes, it's very hard, but I will say what makes it incredibly easy and what allows me to get through the day, I'm surrounded by the best people in the world. I take care of those people. I keep them calm. I keep them focused. I make sure that they're listening to our NAMM members because these people will spend 28 hours in a day. They'll find it. They'll make more hours in a day and serve our members. So all I have to do is keep them healthy and make sure they're listening to our members so their energy is in the right direction. So when Women in NAMM is rapidly taking off, yes, support that. When NAMM is taking off, yes, support that. When the need to get in independent music makers through our individual membership, yes, I just focus amazing people and then I get all the credit. It's amazing.
It's great to be a leader, isn't it? Well, that's fantastic, and it does take a team. And I've seen it. It's only my second show speaking, and I'm like, wow, there's a difference here. You can kind of feel it in the air.
We care. We serve. I mean, everyone. Our team's here. You show up. Do you need water? What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? We're servants. We're a nonprofit association. We're not a for-profit trade show. There's a difference.
Now my big question.
Are
you ready?
I'm always ready.
All right. So as I did an interview with a friend of mine that runs Midtown Comics because we do a lot in that world as well, and that the world of comic books is completely changing because of music and film, right? That was last week. So for you, where do you see the future of the music business industry, the music industry, retail, manufacturing, e-retail, artist involvement? What changes do you believe are going to drive the economic progression of the industry?
Wow, that was a really good one. Economic progression industry. So if I was to sum up what I think my job is, 20 years from now when I retire, maybe 30, we'll see. I need to measure success based on based on the size of the industry. Like that's why I'm excited with this question. Like, and this is what you're getting at right on. You're super sharp. Our job as the association is to make the pie bigger for everyone. And that's where it makes it so hard because we have to measure in music makers. We have to measure in the amount of people that are learning and playing instruments, the amount of people that are innovating and starting new ways to create products and new ways to create instruments. So growing that overall pie, the size, the diameter or circumference, however you want to measure the circle, that's how we need to measure it. And at the same time, what we have to do at NAMM is we have all these companies and all these individuals that are working for their business, and we love them and support them. But a lot of people are focused on their shape of the pie. And what makes it interesting for us is we support them, but what we have to do is stay laser focused on growing this pie and not preserving one person's size. Because what they don't realize is they're looking at their sliver, but if the whole pie grows, their sliver actually gets bigger. And so I'll speak more specifically now. What we do is everything we do, all of our, we're a nonprofit, so we take our funds and our member dues and we get other companies to invest with us, and we actually go out and run programming to create more music makers. And so we donate to multiple organizations that go out and provide services, different nonprofits. That's a big piece of it. I've had a lot of conversations here with our members about how we can work together on whether it's ad campaigns or PSAs or artist endorsements, of just getting people to talk about how our industry is not just measured in sales of products according to UPC codes and commerce, but it's actually the number of young people that decide to pick up an instrument and start playing. We look at lifespan of music making to make sure that a kid that might leave high school who played trumpet keeps it and realizes they can go find a community ensemble, or or maybe go into engineering and start making mixers or whatever. So careers in music is another big initiative. So again, we look at our foundation, we look at the size of music makers, and we talk to our members about it, because the universal truth is, if there's more music makers, there's more customers, and the whole industry thrives. And we do it with partners. That's the other thing too. We don't do anything alone. Like, there's nothing we do at NAMM that we say we have to do that. It's always the partner. I'll be at the Grammys next week. We talked about a great conversation about, okay, you represent this group, we represent these group, but your group's using our products to make this. So we're talking very nicely. We have multiple partners, Audio Engineering Society, and on and on and on.
Absolutely.
International partnership, and we are global. So I have literally 5 hours of international association meetings today, back to back. We talk to every association about shared goals to grow.
I didn't know that. So it's at the international level, are there kind of like rules and regulations or ways that you're moving this industry forward together, and how do you measure that?
Yes, and every country has a different need and different way to do it. Well, again, you measure it in like enthusiasm for music makers. So you have models, and what we do in our Industry Insights initiatives, we work with all the different international associations, and we say, okay, in Germany, you've solved this problem, but in Latin America, they're just starting to have this problem. Or in Japan, they actually have, like, for example, in the Asian countries, Japan and China, they've really invested in lessons for elderly. 30% of the lessons that happen in retail stores in Japan are actually retirees. And they realize there's a market there. And so now we look at other areas that aren't even capitalizing that. So we bring together international coalitions. We, with all of our partner associations, they share with us their successes and challenges. And then we collect it all. And then we share back through these reports that we do, because everyone learns from each other.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. Yes. Of course.
And that's what, if everyone's working with the same information, everyone's empower each other, everyone wins. That's what we do. We are the great combiner.
And I noticed that yesterday at the end of one of the panels, I was in the back, and I noticed the audience questions, and a lot of the audience were from different countries. And I was thinking to myself, I wonder how they're sharing this. So I like that,
124 countries are here this week.
Wow.
And our membership is 36% international. We think about the world, because more music makers anywhere helps our companies everywhere.
Absolutely. Okay, so one last question, because I know you don't have it. What did you say? You have back-to-back international meetings?
5 hours of meetings.
I'm not gonna hold you up, and I think you should eat something. But anyway, so last question. Resources. So this is all about providing resources. So any resources that you want to list, either NAMM or non-NAMM related, for independent artists across the spectrum, music, film, anything that you think is worth it for people to take a look at in terms of resources?
The best resource that anyone has in this industry is people. I mean, we are. I said it Thursday morning. We are not the music products industry. We're the music people industry.
Love it.
People are our greatest resource. That's why this gathering is magical, because you can't replace this. You can't Zoom this.
I know.
And so my best advice is connect with the people through the app. We're looking at more networking things on our site. Connect with our people. Connect with other societies, and don't be afraid as an independent artist to walk up and say, "I am John, and I do all of this." I think sometimes, because I talk to a lot of these folks, like, they don't know how to identify themselves. They're like, "I'm vice president of so-and-so, or I'm producer of this." It's like, well, I'm this and this and this.
Yeah, I understand.
I am John, and I have value, and do you have any advice for me? Because I am here because of mentors.
That's right. Yep.
People are our best resource.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. Happy to.
And I think the audience is really going to learn from this and take action. So again, this is John, the new CEO of NAMM. And for those of you that haven't attended NAMM, it's like no other experience from an education, networking, social standpoint, which we didn't talk about today. But NAMM is lovely, and I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
you.